Nietzsche talks about The Birth of Tragedy, how tragedy is only really tragic in the case of a person who had great possibility. If someone is born on the bottom and stays there, it's no great tragedy, because for them this is what they know. But for a person who has so much possibility, and then they experience the great fall, that's what the tragedy really is. And so when we think about that type of dynamic between possibility and tragedy, or good and evil, our ego sucks us into this tunnel where we begin to label everything that's painful as bad and everything that's not painful as good, and we're unable to see the positive functions of pain. We become very narrow-minded and selfish, and I think most supposedly spiritual people are on this level. Unfortunately, it's just the way of the world now, because people have become so deluded, so consumed, and they have that narrow-minded tunnel vision of their reality tunnel, which is that their ego is completely real, and that's all that's real for them. That gives the dynamic between good and evil creates dialectical thinking. Okay, that dialectical thinking is the problem-reaction-solution issue that I've talked about on this channel. It's called the Hegelian dialectical, which is this idea that you give somebody a problem, you create a problem for them with having a reaction that you wanted in mind all along. The person who you're creating a problem for responds to it, and with that predetermined response that you knew he would do because his thinking is so predictable, then you propose for him the solution that you had all along. This is the ultimate way to manipulate, because it gives people the illusion that the cage that they're living in is a palace. It gives them the idea that the cage they're living in, the prison cell that they shut the door to at night, that they're doing that of their own free will, and that they are free, when in fact they're not. They're just being given the illusion of a choice. It's the same thing that we see the dialectical in the Republican and Democrat Party. Why can't we have a third party? This is not the way the Republic was supposed to turn out to be. But unfortunately, people are so trapped in this dialectical thinking of good and bad, which is a delusion, that they even have a party which is good and bad. Of course, the Republicans are the color red, which is bad. In Star Wars, even the Sith use red lightsabers, and the opposite of that, of course, is blue, and we can see it back here on the Rosa Cross over here, right? The opposite arm of the cross is red and blue, and so the good guys, right, are the Democrats who are for the people and all this stuff. That's the illusion of it. They're not at all. They're both run by billionaires, trillionaires, really. Most people think that there aren't any trillionaires in the world, and that's also not entirely true. But so you have this whole illusory professional wrestling battle, because you're giving these people problem, reaction, solution. You're creating a problem for them, knowing already what they're going to do, how they're going to react, because their thinking is so predictable, because they think dialectically. They're only able to think with a small portion, small slice of the left brain, because of the way that they have been indoctrinated in our school systems. They've been purposefully machined, manufactured with these standardized testing regimes to cut out, call any type of creative thinking, to make sure that people who think differently from just the rote mechanical repetition are held back until they are able to stifle that part of the brain and then develop that single repetitive part. I would never study or do anything, and yet I knew how to take the tests. I knew how to regurgitate information, and I could get A's on everything without even knowing what the subject was beforehand. The SAT, I didn't study for it. I was up all night playing EverQuest the night before, and I got a 1300 on it without even trying. I thought I failed the thing, but it's just because I knew how to answer the questions. And so this is because they're testing you not on how much you know, not on are you educated. They're testing you on, is he fully indoctrinated yet? Is he ready to receive his doctorate, right? Is he indoctrinated? Is he ready to graduate? He's on the gradations, right? You're going up this ranking system, these levels. And that's the unfortunate and sad way that the society works. Once you're indoctrinated and the left brain is developed and the right is shut down completely, and you live in a world of total limitation of your reality, then you're able to join the workforce. Then you're accepted as a member of society. And it's totally wrong, but that's the way it is. Because they have to make sure that you're not going to think in an intuitive way, which would defeat the Hegelian dialectical process that they run the entire society off of. That is how the entire society is run, and the royal families of Europe have known and done this since the 14th century. They've passed this stuff down. It's existed since then. And it's just an ancient method, the most ancient method of manipulation, because human beings have fallen. We've become, fallen creatures, as the Christians say. It's true in a way. And what we've fallen from is our intuition and our holistic, natural state of mind when the right and left are united, when we're able to see the reality in a more natural state, a unified position, and escape this very sort of narrow prison thought, prison-minded thinking, prison language. It's all an illusion, it's all a lie, and we accept that, we support that in our lives without even knowing it, really believing, really truly thinking in a lot of ways with our mind, with our left brain, that this is correct, while deep down we all have an intuition that something is very wrong. But most of us have stamped that intuition out, or had it stamped out so thoroughly, using the indoctrination system and the trauma-based